Hey, all right, everyone, and a pleasant good morning to you from Tony'sPicks.com. This is Ramon Scott, and welcome to Night Moves here for a Friday, December the 12th. We've got a pretty short card here for sure tonight. We'll be around too long here. I'm flying solo here tonight, so glad to have you on board and get ready for the action here on Friday. In the NBA, we'll also look at a couple of college games as well. There's two on the ice, and maybe just maybe take a sneak peek at the first game of the FCS playoffs on Friday night as we're down to the final four in FCS play here this weekend. So we got some big football games as well coming your way, and let's get to the action here. We've got a nice card going on Friday night in the NBA. A nice manageable 7-game card here. Thank you for joining me on the show. And before we get started, just a quick recap of what happened here on Thursday night in the NFL. How about it? With a great game last night. I wasn't maybe what we were expecting, especially if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A crucial game here on Friday, and they ended up with a loss here to Atlanta. Atlanta comes in with Kirk Cousins. They were down by 14 points, and for whatever reason, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they just can't stand prosperity, man. They find a way to lose games time and time again. It feels like they led the game 28-14 with 10 minutes left, but Atlanta drove down 45 yards and kicked a 43-yard field goal by Zane Gonzalez on the last play of the game. The Falcons got a first down on that drive. It was remember it was 3rd and 28 at one point, and they completed a 14-yard pass, and then they picked up another first down, and that loss drops the Buccaneers to 7-7, a half game behind Carolina in the NFC South. And with just 3 games left, I mean, Carolina, they look just a little bit better than the Buccaneers. Could the Buccaneers' reign of championships end to the Carolina Panthers? Can Carolina capitalize on a key loss? Buccaneers favored by game time. The spread went all the way up to 6. Some people even saw 6.5s out there, and Kyle Pitts did something that hadn't been done in the game in 29 years, as he had 11 receptions, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It's one of the top 4 performances in NFL history by a tight end in that game. He was great. The Mr. Wesker, the chomp with Pitts last night, but also a great job by Cousins, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns. When he's prepared, he can be good. It helps that the Buccaneers defense is a sieve out there. Especially, they've perfected the prevent defense, man, talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't mean in a good way. Seems like they're always giving it up there at the end of the game. Even if they're not trying to hold on for the win, they always give up the cover, it seems like. And Atlanta got the win despite a woeful 19 penalties for 125 yards. It wasn't a great game as far as the aesthetics of the game were concerned, although there were some nice plays in the game for sure. We had a pretty good night here at Tony'sPicks.com. I did anyway in the props department, I'll head over to Tony'sPicks.com and take a look at what happened yesterday with the handicapper leaderboards, get the show going here. Like I said, I don't know if we'll be here. I'd like to get out of here with maybe, and I'm going to watch some NBL basketball here on tonight and from Australia, throwing down a little action, and want to hear from you in the chat if you've got some action here on Friday in the NBA, college basketball, NHL, or like I said, I'm going to peek at that college game, but I want to go over to Tony'sPicks.com and take a look at the action here on Friday night. I had a pretty good, or on for Thursday, but for Friday, let's go over to the website. And here's my props from the action here. Pretty good performance here for me. I had Evans over in his receiving yards there. I had over 38, not 138. Evans had 132 yards on his return. They posted that number like he was washed up. Don't they know he's a Hall of Famer? He almost, poor Evans. I mean, Baker lays him out to dry twice in the game. He kind of gets injured again with his back, his neck, his head. And you don't fault Evans. I mean, this guy just always is trying. He's really a real tough guy out there for sure. He had 132 yards. So I had the over in that one. Also, I had the over on David Sills. You guys saw him out there, Sills. I had him over a measly 20 and a half yards. He was stuck on 20 there for a few minutes, but it didn't matter. If Sills dropped a pass, remember, he beat the man that hadn't given up a touchdown pass in over 2 seasons. But he dropped the ball, but he still had 78 yards. Sills, who famously was recruited by USC as a quarterback when he was 13 years old. An official commitment, never ended up going to USC, never ended up playing quarterback, really. And he's kind of labored in the NFL. Tonight, kind of he's had a few games in his career where he's stood out a little bit, but tonight was really good. 78 yards there. He's been around. He's not a rookie for sure, but he did have a good performance. And I had him over on his receiving yards. And I had Bijan Robinson over 4.5 receptions. He had 8 receptions in the game, and he was a terror as well, despite getting in trouble there a little bit on the post-game show when he was talking about that old game that we used to play. When we didn't play organized football at recess, but you had one guy trying to get away with the ball, or it was kind of like a game of tag. And Bijan used the name that everybody used for that game, I think, back then. But you can't say that on TV anymore. I don't think they're Bijan, unless you're talking about the left-wing lunatics or something like that. Anyways, Bijan was pretty awesome in the game, despite getting a little bit of trouble there with his tongue on the post-game show. But he had a pretty good night as well. And I won my only other game here tonight to go 4-0 on the website. Let me see if I got that there. We had, there it is, App State and East Carolina game to go under yesterday. Had under 132.5, and it went for 121. I said right there in my preview, their glacial pace, I called it. They're 363rd in possessions per game, App State. So 4-0 day. Let's take a look at who's hot. Take a look at those handicapper leaderboards for Thursday night, and look at my man Stephen Duncan. It's great to have Stephen back on the Tony's Picks team, a hockey capper extraordinaire, and high volume for sure. You can get lots of sides, totals, and more with Steve Duncan, and you get your money's worth with him for sure, especially if you can put together a day like he had, plus 6 1/3 units. Alessandro, Vegas Al, his show precedes this one. Doing a great job with that show, by the way. Right when I'm doing my handicapping, I get to listen to Al and do his previews here, so it is pretty cool to be able to listen to Alessandro doing a great job over at Tony's Picks. He had that 420 units profit yesterday, for over 4 units of profit, and there I am at 4-0 with Mr. Bitler up there. Ben Ruhala 5-1. Good game, good day for the cappers. You had Higgs 2-0, Justin McKelvey 3-1, Ron Crawford 4-2. Did everyone was everyone in the profit here? Look at how deep that leaderboard is. 19 cappers. That's almost every capper on the site. Head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Save 15% off all premium pick packages, including mine, here on Friday. I'll be going into college basketball a little bit here. Feels like it'll probably be a little bit of a light night with this card. Again, you just have 7 NBA, 8 college, 2 hockey, and I don't know if we have those FCS games, but I'm handicapping them for sure. We get ready for the action here on Friday and Saturday with the final 8 teams. By the way, I do like the Montana Grizzlies. I know they're 12-1, seems easy. Montana State plays Stephen F. Austin tomorrow, but I do like the Montana Grizzlies to win the FCS championship. They might be favored here a little bit by now. Tarleton, those looking good as well. They're a big favorite over Villanova on Saturday. Maybe we'll preview those games with a light card here on Saturday. I mean, I know we have some, college basketball here on Saturday, but I think we can take a look at those games when we get there tomorrow. We'll take a look at the action maybe in the FCS because I've been following it all season. We're down to the final 8 teams over there. Anyway, go on over to Tony'sPicks.com and check out the premium picks over there and get involved with our handicappers and their premium picks. And as always, those single day packages are profit guaranteed, where we must show a profit or you get your credits back. You can use them on the same capper or another capper. I'll highlight my partner here on Night Moves, DeAndre, as he has his Friday best bet here with us on Friday night. So get in touch with DeAndre as well here at Tony'sPicks.com and all the cappers. Really appreciate all their contributions to the network and the channel. We're heading towards, we're over 50,000, the 50,000 subscriber juggernaut here at Tony'sPicks.com. So make sure you're checking us out every day with all of our shows, including Tony T in the morning show, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Rod's got you covered with the drive-through, Vegas Allen there, and then myself, and of course all the videos from the gang as well. Say hello in the chat too, Greg. He's here. He said, how about the Bucks as well? Touch on the NBA action here a little bit. Thanks to Greg here. If I can just touch on the 4-game college card last night. We did have a couple of winners here on Night Moves last night. We had New Orleans over Portland there, plus the points, but they did win it outright. They smashed Portland for just their 5th win of the season, I think. Can count them on one hand. 143 to 120. So look, I think it pointed to New Orleans in that game, right? Portland is a road favorite. No good. They lose again as a road favorite. And even New Orleans was able to get the win and the money there in that one. And we also had here on Night Moves, Denver minus the 10.5. They rolled over Sacramento 136 to 105. Other winners here, or other results anyway. Houston knocked off the Clippers by 2, and it was the Bucks hammering Boston, as Greg mentioned in there, 116 to 101. So Boston's streak kind of came to an end there, and good for Milwaukee. They needed some positive mojo here because they've been struggling, and they were able to get the win comfortably there over Boston. Impressive job there by the Bucks in the second half, especially. They were down 7 points at halftime, but held Boston to 13 points in the third quarter to get that win. Say hello also to Jerry here. He liked the under in that IU Indy game against Green Bay. I went with IU Indy, but last night on the show, but that was no good, as Green Bay did a nice job there, getting the win by 10. A great call there by Jerry talking about IU Indy. It's almost as if they've just abandoned that strategy. Remember, I've come on the show early in the season and said, watch out, this IU Indy. And it wasn't a secret. Oh, they're going to be this fast-paced, fast track. But you know what? They were losing a little bit, and maybe they've had to maybe the field goal percentage was down. I didn't look at the box score, but the scoring really wasn't there from the outset. They were just having a regular old first half, 36 to 33, and then they gave up 52 to Green Bay in the second half. So they did have a here on Night Moves last night, we had the Iowa Hawkeyes yesterday over Iowa State. Iowa State did come back to win. It was just 66-62, but Iowa got the money. We had them here on Night Moves yesterday talking about it. Iowa came in with a pretty solid record. Yes, Iowa State, one of the best teams in the country, and yeah, they've had a huge win already this season. But really, when it came down to it, Iowa still had a pretty good team, and to hold them to hold Iowa State just to 66 points. I mean, they didn't cover, and it went way under here yesterday. But just interesting to note that Iowa got the win. We got the win here on Night Moves last night with our play on the show with Iowa. All right. And let's see who. Oh, here's and Andre is in the chat as well, and Power Critter is here as well today. So let's get ready to get into the action here on Friday with our modest little card here. Let's take a look and go to the NBA here, I think. And just let me see here. I wanted to also, I want to mention Syracuse over St. Joe's. St. Joe's struggled there from 3-point range, but they were still able to get the cover. 71-63 Syracuse with the win in that one. In the other big game there, it felt like on Friday. Okay, let's get to the previews here. This one won't be too long. Let's go, sports fan, my man. There. All right. And we get to the action here right now, a 7-game card for Friday night. Remember, these are write-in games, so if you have a printed schedule, if you're a gambler and you don't have these games listed, I mean, I know you see them there on your books or maybe on your odds screen or your apps, but these games are kind of makeshift games in conjunction with the NBA Cup. These are games, of course, that count in the standings, but were not scheduled at the beginning of the season. They didn't know who they'd assign these different games to following the teams that qualified for the NBA Cup quarterfinals. Still got to play a few more games here to get up and catch up with the schedule. So let's get into it right now with our card, and we take a look here at this first one between the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Washington Wizards. Cleveland coming in here with a 14-11 record right now. They're coming in off of a loss. They've been alternating wins and losses actually here of late. Cleveland lost at home to Golden State 6 days ago. This kind of been, the other thing about the NBA Cup, if you don't advance, you get some time off. So, they lost 6 days ago to Golden State at home. Before that, they defeated San Antonio, and before that, lost to Portland. Cleveland is one of the – oops, let me get this. I love DeAndre. Trying to bring myself back up here on the screen. There we go. Cleveland comes in here 8-17 against the spread right now, despite a 14-11 straight-up record. They've been one of the most overrated teams in the league this season based on that criteria, which is what I use, actually. They are 13-9 straight up as a favorite, but just 17-5 or 7-15 as a favorite. So could they really cover here a big number? They're one of the worst spread teams in the league. Well, they are going up against a Washington team that isn't exactly great against the number. They're not great at all. We know that. They're 3-19 here. And not only that, they're actually much better ATS, so maybe they could cover here. They're getting 14.5 points, except for the fact that, they're just 2-8 against the spread at home right now, 6-14 against the spread as an underdog. Believe it or not, they were favored twice this season, lost those games too. Washington here coming in off 3 consecutive losses to Philadelphia on the road, Boston at home. They lost by 45, and they lost at home by Atlanta to Atlanta by 15 points. So Washington hasn't done anything to turn this around or anything like that at this point. So, but 14.5 points, pretty stiff here with Cleveland. But man, the last time these teams met back on November the 7th here in Washington, Cleveland was favored by 13.5, and they won by 34 points. So could Cleveland get this money? Look, Cleveland might only be 4-6 ATS on the road, but Washington's 2-8 ATS at home. If you have to make kind of a comparison there a little bit, the fact that Washington, maybe they have had some fairly decent success spread wise against Washington here right now, anyway. I will say that last year Washington did cover a couple of games, getting 17 points late in the season or in their final two meetings of the season. Cleveland actually covered in the first two meetings of the season. Cleveland's 8-4 against the spread in their last 12 against Washington. Washington's 1-4 ATS in their last 5 games overall coming in. Cleveland's 2-5 ATS in their last 7 games coming in right now. Cleveland's gone under in 9 of their last 12 games. However, Washington's gone over in 10 of their last 15. I'm going to take the under in this game. 12 of the last 18 meetings between these two teams have gone under, and I'm just not sure Washington's got enough to. Now, look, if Cleveland goes on and wins this game again and pummels them, 140 to 114, obviously it's going over. But I'm going to say that it's Washington, maybe that doesn't have the wherewithal to kind of keep up here. I know that these two teams are trending over, especially Washington right now. They're 8-2 to the over at home, and Cleveland's 7-3 to the over on the road. But I'm going to take the under in this one. I don't expect it to be that wild of a score again here, but I'm going to go with the under at 242.5 here on Friday night. Power Critter likes the Wizards plus the points. Greg likes the over, though. And Sports Fan says, just take the Cavs in the first half. That'll do you. You won't have to worry about them pulling away like they have in those last two. In the last two games, they've averaged basically 141 points against Washington. All right, next up, we've got the Hawks are on the road here taking on the Pistons. The Hawks come in 14-11 right now. They've been doing a pretty good job, although they have lost 3 of their last 4 games coming in. Who'd they beat? Washington last time out to snap a 3-game losing streak. Losses to Detroit, the Clippers, and Denver. For Detroit, they're on a 2-game winning streak here with wins over Portland and Milwaukee, but they did not cover. In fact, Detroit has struggled a little bit to the number here of late. Atlanta's been a very good cover this year, 10-5 against the spread on the road, 9-4 against the spread as an underdog. Are the Hawks coming in to this one? They've had some success for sure. On the road as a dog, they're 8-2 ATS, and their last 10 on the road as well. They have lost 5 of the last 6 meetings to the Pistons, but they're 5-1 ATS in their last 6, and Detroit is 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 games, despite the fact that they've won 10 of their last 11 games at home, and of course 17 of their last 20 overall. Now, we did see him lose to Milwaukee a couple of weeks ago, or 9 or 10 days ago here, but they've been struggling to get the money right now, and maybe Atlanta can get in there and get this money. Atlanta's gone over in 10 of their last 14 games. The series has gone over in 7 of the last 9 matchups overall between these two teams. So I'm going to end up here, though, I think, on the total here. Maybe Atlanta's the call in this one, but look, you got an Atlanta team here that has trended over, like I said, for the most part of late. They're 9-6 to the over on the road. Detroit is 8-5 to the over at home. I'm going to go over 234 here with Atlanta and Detroit. Give me another total here on Night Moves. All right, and we'll go to the chat. Might have some comments from you here. How about Pistons and over from Andre? And how about SF Niner? He likes Cade to get 10-plus assists tonight. And Greg says he'll take the points with the Hawks. I like it that, Greg. All right, the struggling Chicago Bulls going to take on the Charlotte Hornets here, and Hornets. You look at it and you might say, "Hey, the Bulls can finally get a win here, maybe." Well, the Bulls are 9-14 straight up now with this massive losing streak here still continuing for Chicago right now. The losing streak is back to 7 straight now for Charlotte. Meanwhile, they do have a couple of wins here of late. They've won two of their last five. They beat Toronto on the road and hammered them really in an upset. And who else did they beat? They beat Toronto twice. So maybe they could scotch Toronto's number, but the Bulls not only were not winning, they're not even coming close to covering. They're 1-9 against the spread in their last 10 games. They have dominated this series against the Hornets. They've covered 9 of the last 11 meetings between the two, although the Hornets got the win and the cover back on November 28th, 123-116 right here as a 3-point dog. Get that. That's when Chicago actually had a pretty decent record. Well, I don't know about a decent. They'd already started their tailspin a little bit, but that was only maybe a little more than 2 weeks ago, and we know it's been all downhill since for Chicago right now. So you got to think Charlotte. I got to think Charlotte can win this game. They're 7-5. They're 5-7 straight up at home, but 7-5 against the spread. Meanwhile, Chicago is a favorite. 1-10-1 ATS as a favorite. Not only that, they haven't covered in forever. It's part of that streak right now, but that sounds dismal here, actually, doesn't it? With the Bulls not even coming close. Like I said, they do have success in this series. Maybe they can rely on that, having covered 9 of the last 11 meetings. But again, mention that the two games that Charlotte has covered, and one was last season, but in the last 3 games, the two teams have met dating back to last season. 2 last season, 1 this season. Charlotte's won 2 of them. So we know that Charlotte hasn't been doing much, but they do have some decent numbers here. 11-9 ATS as an underdog. Also so far this season. 9 of the last 13 meetings between the two teams have gone under, and Chicago's gone under in 5 of their last 6. Charlotte's been a hardcore under this season. They're 8-16 to the under, 5-15 to the under as a dog. The Bulls are at least 7-5 to the over on the road, but they're 4-8 to the under as a favorite. I'm going to take the Hornets here. I'm probably on the money line here. You can grab a couple of points as well. Let's have a winning night. But man, 233. That's a pretty high total for a game involving Charlotte. And the Bulls have been at such a steady under here of late. Now that last meeting did go for 239 points, but it was still under. It went under by 9 points, the meeting in Charlotte back on November the 28th. So I'm going to take the Hornets here in this one, probably to win the game. Let's see what you guys might have in the chat in this one. And let's see, Kobe White to 20-plus points for SF Niner. Giddy with the double-double here. He's all over the props in this game. Look at this. He's been waiting. This is Andre's moment. He's got White over in his points. He's got Ball over in his assists here. And let's see, Con Kneppel over on his PRA. We'll mention, though, I'm showing Ball, unless that's I'm showing LaMelo Ball out of this game, so I have him listed as out of this game. Diabate questionable, Connaughton out, Trey Mann out, Sexton out. Hornets do have injuries here, but the Bulls have a few injuries too, but all of them are probable. Collins probable, Kobe White probable, Jalen Smith probable, Okoro probable. Man, that's a lot of injuries for Charlotte here. Maybe that's part of the factor too. Dosunmu, though, is out for the Bulls here in this one. All right, we've got a few more here going right now in the NBA on Friday night. Next up, the Indiana Pacers are on the road taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers come in having won 3 of their last 4 games. They're 13-10 right now on the season. They're favored here by 7, maybe 6.5 here right now. Pacers coming in off a couple of wins here of late. Uh, wins over Chicago and Sacramento. They did lose to Cleveland and Denver before that this month, but still Philadelphia here, 7-point favorite, 229 right now. It looks like about 229, 229 and a half here in this one. Uh, Maxey on the injured list here today, but he is probable with an illness. Salas is out for the Sixers. Embiid is probable here for this one. For the Pacers, Quentin Jackson is questionable. Shepard's still out here, but that's about it for the short-term injuries. In this one for Indiana coming in. They've covered 8 of their last 10 games coming into this one. They've also covered 10 of the last 15 meetings between these two teams. Indiana's 11-9. ATS is an underdog, although Philadelphia 7-4. ATS is a favorite. Remember, there was a time when the Sixers were a pretty solid cover. Right now, they're just 6-8 against the spread at home. Here, they've also failed to cover in 8 of their last 12 games overall. We've seen a little bit of a resurgence from the Pacers here, at least getting numbers and picking up a few wins here along the way of late. Sixers had 3 straight wins over Washington, Golden State, and Milwaukee this month, but did lose to the Lakers last time out, 112 to 108. Indiana's been a pretty solid under here. They've gone under in 5 of their last 7, and they're 2-9 to the under on the road. Meanwhile, Philadelphia has gone under in 5 of their last 6 games. Although 8 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams have gone over. This is the first meeting of the season between the two teams coming in. So maybe we can hear from you in the chat in this one with Indiana and Philadelphia here on Friday night. I like the Pacers here myself to get the money right now. We're just maybe start to see the Pacers put a little bit of cohesiveness together. And, well, Philadelphia, they should be better, right? But could you say that maybe, eventually won't they just go back to being Philly right now? They do have Embiid here, obviously. Let's see if there's anything in the chat with this one. Embiid under 7.5 rebounds for SF Niner. Also, and Andre says, Maxey over in his points. 76ers on the money line. He's got Edgecombe over with his points, and he likes the full game over in this one. Sports fan likes the Pacers here. All right. Yeah, I'm getting ready for my NBL game here. I'm going to watch here in the middle of the night. Only make note of it. I mean, I've watched these games a lot here, especially when it's the featured NBA TV game, but you got the top 2 teams in the NBL here tonight with the 36ers, not the 76ers, but the 36ers in action here tonight in the NBL, taking on Melbourne United. All right. Let's continue on, though, here in the NBA on Friday night. Take a look at the next one. The Utah Jazz are going to take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Jazz here are 6.5-point favorites, and total 240. It looks like it's gone up here a little bit, and well, maybe why not? Let's take a look, man. Memphis is actually starting to play well here. All of a sudden, they've kind of cast aside some of their woes. They've worked their way up to 11-13 right now. They've won 2 straight here with wins over the Clippers and Portland. They did cover. They have not had a difficult schedule here of late. The one team that they played that's any good in the last couple of weeks was San Antonio, and they lost that game 126-119 on the road as a 5-point dog. But still, Memphis, get this, 8-2 against the spread as a favorite for Memphis. So, as bad as they've been or as mediocre as they've been, they've covered some numbers as a favorite, and they're going up against a team they should be able to beat you got a Utah team coming in here 3-7 against the spread on the road. Utah's lost 5 straight games to Memphis. However, they have covered 8 of the last 11 meetings between the two teams. 14 of the last 19 meetings between these two teams have gone over. Utah's been an over team for the most part this season. They're 14-9 to the over. They've gone over in 10 of their last 13. However, Memphis has been a big under. They're 8-16 to the under, 4-8 to the under at home. They've gone under in 4 of their last 5, and they're 3-7 to the under as a favorite. I still think it's gonna go over, especially what we've seen here. I want to say the first night back, if you know what I mean, but we did see some high scores on Thursday night as the teams kind of get rolling here after the NBA Cup semifinal break. So I'm going to go over 240 with Utah and Memphis here on Friday night. I'll go over, Memphis has been a strong under, but you know what? They're starting to fight back here a little bit right now. Usually it has been when Memphis wins the game, it has been going under, but I'm going to take the over here in this one at 240 on Friday night. Hey, I want to say hello to Fubu in the chat. Nice to have Fubu, and it's FOOBU, not FUBU. Hello to Fubu, and also hello to Michael Rostello. Also tonight in the chat. Nice to have Michael in there, and also Andre says, "Be careful, Ramon, of this one. No Zach Edey," he says tonight. He's out. Konkar is out. Morant is questionable in this one. And for Utah, Markkanen is probable here in this one. Nurkic here, 10 plus. Sprinkle the double-double. Rostello says Grizzlies have better defense, better shooters overall. Grizzlies spread easy. And Andre says, Grizzly, for me, it's Friday, so they do pretty well on Fridays, he said. And he says over as well. All right, next up, the Nets are taking on the Mavs here on Friday night. You got the Mavericks favored by 7.5, total 222. I think this one's been dropping here a little bit right now, and maybe I can see why. But hey, you got Brooklyn. They've won 3 of 4. Break them up. Wins over New Orleans, Chicago, and Charlotte. Not the toughest schedule, but they did win and cover in those games. They're 6-5 against the spread on the road, despite this 9-17, 8-17. Make sure I got that right. That sounds like too many games here. 6-17. Can't read my writing here. 6-17 record for Brooklyn right now, but 3 of those wins have come in the last 4 games here of late. For the Mavericks, they've been hot, man. They beat the Rockets last time out. They've pretty much been in a good groove. They did get rocked by Oklahoma City, but before that had wins over the Clippers, Denver, and Miami. But note, Dallas is 1-5 against the spread as a favorite this season. Just 6-9 straight up at home. Now, Brooklyn is, pretty woeful as well, but they've been getting the money a little bit here. Like I said, they are over 500 on the road against the spread. So Brooklyn here, 1-6 straight up their last 7 against Dallas. Dallas is 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games coming in. Brooklyn's gone under in 9 of their last 10 games overall, including 5 of their last 6 on the road. Dallas has been an over of late, gone over in 4 of their last 6, and 5 of the last 7 meetings between these two interconference foes have gone over. But talked about Dallas and their 1-5 spread record as a favorite. They're also 0-6 to the under when they are a favorite. So they don't cover and it goes under. So give me the under in this one with the Nets and the Mavericks here on Friday night. But also, maybe Brooklyn and a chance maybe to hang in here. Yes, Dallas has looked a little bit better here of late. Maybe they should be better, right? But we know this has been a rugged start for Dallas right now, and they're only 9-16. So these two teams are pretty weak. We know that man, got the news on Derek Lively and that foot injury. That sucks for sure. That is news that just came out within the last couple of days that Lively will miss the rest of the season. Clay is probable. Gappert is doubtful here right now, and I think those are mostly Brooklyn, kind of a clean bill of health as far as short-term injuries are concerned. So I'm going to go under in this one with Brooklyn and Dallas. Let's see what you have in the chat. Here it's going to be Andre with Dallas. Um, hey, Michael likes this matchup. I know what he means. I'm teasing him a little bit with the laugh, but pretty equal teams. Maybe why is the spread so huge? I think it's just saying that maybe Brooklyn certainly can compete with a struggling team like Dallas. It just feels like Dallas is putting a little bit together here of late. Both teams have, for as bad as they've been, are playing their best basketball of the season pretty much. Andre says go over. Here's Christie for 8+. And over with his threes. Cooper Flag over in his points. Mavs can't defend the three. He'll take a prop here in this one. We're down to the final game on the NBA card on Friday night out west with Minnesota on the road taking on Golden State. Man, Minnesota have been sharp here of late. They did lose last time out to Phoenix at home. Phoenix did a nice job in there. We know Phoenix has been kind of a good, rugged team all of a sudden. But before that, Minnesota was in a winning streak, although they failed to cover in 4 straight games, three wins and 1 loss. So they're not quite getting there. In fact, Minnesota, talk about a team kind of like Cleveland, winning record, but poor spread record. Minnesota 8-16 ATS. That's 33%. Even I could figure that out. 4-8 ATS on the road. That's 33%. 1-3 ATS is a dog. 25%. I'm good with my numbers. Golden State has gone 6-4 ATS at home, 8-7 ATS as a favorite. These two teams have not yet met this season, but we know they've got obviously a pretty good rivalry, and it was, of course, the Timberwolves that eliminated Golden State last May there with those 4 consecutive wins. Remember, they pretty much dominated those games against Golden State. So could Golden State, do they care to exact some revenge here in this game, or will Minnesota kind of continue their dominance a little bit over the Warriors? Ant is on the injured list, injury report, questionable with a foot injury. Conley is out with an Achilles strain here. Steph Curry probable with that quad strain, so the time off has done him well. And Draymond is out of this game due to personal reasons. I don't know. I didn't catch that. But Dre is expected to miss this game. Big Al is also out. So Warriors missing a couple of key big men in there for sure. And we'll see about the status of Ant here in this one. You'd think maybe he'd be good to go. He's played in 20 of 24 games this season. Warriors have won a couple in a row here over Chicago and Cleveland. Minnesota, like I said, been pretty hot. Now, those wins were over New Orleans and the Clippers, so they just didn't cover kind of some big numbers there, it felt like. But see what you got here in this one with Minnesota and Golden State. Last game on the night here. Minnesota's covered just one of their last 6 games overall. They, like I said, took care of business against the Warriors in that playoff series. Golden State 1-4 ATS in their last 5 home games, despite that 6-4 ATS record. Remember, they were at 1.5-0 ATS at home to start. For Minnesota here, they've gone under in 10 of their last 14 overall. The Warriors have gone under in 5 of their last 6 games overall coming in. Warriors are 9-6 to the over as a favorite. Minnesota 7-5 to the over as a dog. I'm going to take the Warriors in this one, minus 3.5 over Minnesota here on Friday night. We got some nice comments from you guys, it looks like, in this one. Let's see what you got. Oh, Andre says no Curry. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. I stand corrected here. I have Curry as probable in this game. So that probably would change things for me. But it's funny because I would think if Curry was out of this game, that this would be close to a pick 'em, actually. Maybe because we don't know the status of Ant in this game, but I'm expecting Curry to play in this game. Hello to Ron Jeff in the chat. And Michael says, did the Warriors? Hey, don't look at the Phoenix Suns like that. I don't think, Michael. I think the Suns, they're to me one of the better, more underrated teams in the league. SF Niner says he likes Ant to go over in his points and assists. Here's Rudy, a double for Andre. Makes me want to go to In-N-Out after this broadcast. Here's Ron Jeff. He likes some Wolves money line. Michael says he likes, I think, the Warriors and over there. All right. And, of course, Andre likes the aptly named Post to go over in his points, and also Butler over in his points and assists. Greg's here, and he says he's got Minnesota. They're pretty good on the road. He likes them. This is an upset pick here by Greg. A 3-point underdog. He likes them to win by 3. Good job, Greg. He says wrong team favored. And Greg says no Curry, no Warriors. So maybe my injury report, I mean, I paid good money for this. pay a few $100s for these up-to-date injury report. I mean, you can get them anywhere, I guess. So it just goes to show you. But I really thought Curry was in this game. So maybe I stand corrected here. Like I said, I figured that if Curry wasn't in this game, it'd be closer to a pick 'em here in this one. And hello to Cal Dog in the chat. Hello, Cal Dog. And SF Niner says he heard that Curry was optimistic that he could play in this game. That's what I heard too. And I thought it sounded very, very positive, actually. But we'll see, I guess, here. Well, thank you, chat. That's a great look at the 7-game card in the NBA. I guess it is a featured attraction here, right, on Friday night with our short action. We got a couple of hockey games as well. But, yeah, I'm going to look at a couple of games in college. I got 3 games in college basketball to look at. How about that? Out of the 8 games here. Look, they'll be back. College basketball will be back. We're just on, some finals, time to go home. We're on winter break a little bit. So, we don't have too many games, but some interesting games here, and I've gone to the best 3 games, I think, on the card tonight. And I'm going to get into the action at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific here, actually, with Connecticut at home here, taking on Texas. Look at this number here. What is going on with Texas? Well, maybe what's going on with Connecticut, maybe more the story here. Connecticut comes in 9-1 right now. They're on a winning streak here. Texas has lost 2 of their last 5, although one was to UBA, but they got spanked around by UBA, and they also lost by a point to Arizona State at home. Now they not at home. I think that might have been the Hawaii event. Nonetheless, they've lost 2 of their last 5 coming in. Connecticut's been a dreadful spread team this season. I mean, they're 3-7 ATS, 2-7 ATS at home, but man, I like this matchup for them, actually, against Texas. It does feel like a big number, and certainly that has me a little bit of concern, but I did think it'd come a little bit lower than this, but my algorithm, and maybe me in general, I kind of feel like the play here is on Texas in this game, laying this big. On Connecticut in this game, laying this big number, despite the fact that they're not covering very well. Texas has lost 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams. Connecticut won the matchup last year around this time. They played, they were in a home and home between these two here over the last couple of years. At Texas last year, Connecticut won 76-65 as a 1.5 point dog. It landed pretty much right on the total in that one. Texas is 7-3 to the over this season. Connecticut 4-6 to the under. They've all gone under though in 12 of their last 17, dating back to last season. Texas has gone over in 5 straight games. So look, you saw last game. Hey, solo ball. He's a team player, right? There's no solo in solo ball, averaging 15 points per game. You got Reed looking strong. Demery also. Connecticut's got a good team, man. And for Texas, I don't know. They just have maybe a little bit of trouble getting the other vocalitis so far. Good scoring average, 16 points per game. Traore, great on the boards, but I just feel like Connecticut here might be able to put a hurting on them. I'm going to go ahead and lay 13.5 tonight with Connecticut. I'm going to go to the chat, but Texas might be the side for most. I'm going to take the blowout here. Let's see what you got, if anything, here in this one, you guys. And Andre does like Texas plus the points. He also likes the under in this one. And Greg, I think he likes Connecticut, though, here. But more importantly, he's got this one as a big-time over. Greg says over here. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, he's adjusted it. Hold everything. Greg has changed his mind. He's not going over. In fact, he just a little bit of an edge there to Connecticut. Sports fan says, Ramon, you got to update that line. What are you doing? Oh, my gosh. Has it gone up to 16 here now? Oh, thank you, Sport. Well, now I've got to go. I mean, obviously, I put these lines in there. This is supposed to be my specialty, you guys. This is why we're on Night Moves. I'm supposed to be the king of the lines here. Tony said, go on and do the line, update the lines, give the latest line. And I typed these in at the end of the football game. You're right, 16.5. I guess I'm laying a pretty big number here now, but okay, I got to stick with Connecticut here. 16.5. Ooh, that sent a shiver up my spine a little bit. Hey, I'm stuck here. I just said Connecticut, but boy, that's a heck of a number. Thanks a lot, though, there in the chat. Sports fan. And Andre says, give me Cal Tog, take the points. But look, if anything, right? I'm not saying I didn't move the line with my bet, and I probably would have put this in at a premium at 13.5. Actually, so if anything, it just shows you. I mean, that early move, man, 16.5. Woo. All right, let me pick something a little more. We got East Tennessee coming in here against Austin P. You got ETSU 8-2 here right now, and they're playing pretty well. East Tennessee, they beat South Alabama last time out. They did fail at Dayton in a 17-point loss, but one and covered against Central Arkansas, one and covered against Monroe in a 42-point win. They smacked Moorhead as well. They're beating up on the weaker teams, and they're going up against Austin P here. East Tennessee's 5-1 against the spread as a favorite. However, Austin P did win at home against NIU. They played a pretty road-heavy schedule, but they beat NIU at home by 18 points. Yeah, they lost at Rio Grande Valley 5 days ago. Of course, we saw Rio Grande Valley play last night in that very low-scoring game against Arlington at home, but P lost to Rio Grande Valley on the road 63-50. They also lost at Kent by 12 as a 5.5-point dog. They lost at Tulsa, getting 7.5. They did cover against Ole Miss. So they're just 2-4 as a dog. I know all the things that I've just kind of talked about kind of lined up for East Tennessee here, but I'm actually going to take Austin P plus the points here. Austin P is a pretty decent home team. They did win their only game at home so far this season. East Tennessee, they're covering spreads. I get that. I'm going to take 3.5 points at home here with Austin P. In fact, it's 3 or 2.5 actually right now. So maybe it just goes to show you there the move has been on Austin P a little bit. Go P, and I'll take them in this one. See if you have anything in the chat here. Just looking at 3 games on the college basketball card tonight. And let's see what you got here. Greg says he likes ETSU on the money line. He said Andre says Austin P is not a good team. Well, I'll give you that much. But and again, like I said, ETSU have been pretty good. But look, I mean, Austin P, like I said, they did okay at home last season here, and so far home win over Northern Illinois. They beat Greensboro. They beat Air Force by 20. I know Air Force is in Northern Illinois, 2 of the worst teams for sure. They're in the 300s there. But look, the moves on Austin P. I'm taking Austin P. Greg here says ETSU. He's got ETSU in this one. Okay, I got one more. All right, it's going to be the Lancers of Cal Baptist taking on Eastern Washington here. Cal Baptist coming in 7-3, but they were 7-0 at one point. They've lost 3 straight to Colorado, BYU, and Utah. They're tougher. They were playing easy games and were cruising along, and then have kind of run into a little bit of a wall here against some good teams. They're still 4-2 ATS on the road, but 2-3 ATS is a favorite for the Eastern Washington Eagles here. They come in off a win over Missouri, Kansas City by 24 points. It's a 9.5-point favorite. Before that, they lost to Central Arkansas, North Texas, and Denver. They lost to North Texas by 8 points, but they did get the money, getting 12.5. This is just their second home game against Division One, against lined schools. They're 1-0 ATS at home, 5-3 ATS at overall, and 4-2 ATS as a dog. Eastern Washington is 7-1 to the over so far this season. They're also 5-1 to the over as a dog, but Cal Baptist is 1-4 to the under as a favorite. Cal Baptist has looked good on the road for sure of late, or this, I should say, this season with these numbers here. But let's see what you guys have, if anything, in this one. My last game to look at here with Cal Baptist and Eastern Washington. I'm going under in this one, by the way, despite those numbers that I talked about there with Eastern Washington. I'm going to end up taking the under here at home. I think Eastern Washington will play a little bit better defense, at least here. Cal Baptist will get back to winning, says Cal Dog. Cal Baptist. Cal Dog is in the Bay Area. Cal Baptist is down there. I think that's like Tony's. That might be the closest school to Tony, I think. Let's see, Andre here. He's got Eastern Washington and over. Thank you, Andre. I guess that's it for our college games. Hey, I have at least one premium, I think, on this college card tomorrow. Okay, hello to Jay Good in the chat. Hey, Jay, nice to have you in the chat there. Jay Good, how about it? Look, he's got a little baby Hulk in there. I think that is that like baby Hulk? Or am I just do I not know my modern cult figures there? All right, let me get into a little bit of an NHL action here on Friday night, and we'll start it off here. 2 games right on. Oh, great. That's cool. Okay. A couple of games on the ice tonight. Good ones here, or at least, hey, they're all good when you have 2. And don't worry, on Saturday, we'll be here all night talking hockey because there's a ton of games. All right. Chicago is on the road taking on St. Louis. Chicago coming in here. They played last night, a win over or I'm sorry, 2 nights ago, of course, a win over the Rangers, 3-0. Shut them out. To snap a 2-game losing streak at home. Chicago, one of those, they were on a long road trip, a West Coast swing, came home, beat the Rangers. Now they got to go back and travel out to St. Louis. That sucks. St. Louis, meanwhile, coming in off a couple of losses. They've been outscored 12-4 in losses to Boston and Nashville. They did win road games before that against Ottawa and Montreal. Kind of the same thing. St. Louis played at home on the road. They were on a road trip, came home to play Boston, went back out on the road and beat Nashville and lost to Nashville. Kind of like that whole thing. No wonder they got blown out of those games. At least now they're back home here in this one. They're a $1.35 favorite. But remember, St. Louis is the worst favorite in the league. They're 2-12 as a favorite this season. You do have Spencer Knight expected here in goal on Friday. So, and I think Hofer maybe in goal here for the Blues. So you got total here of 5.5. I talk about the Blues and their woes as a favorite. They're also 10-4 to the over. They give up goals as a favorite. They give up goals and they lose. They played the Blackhawks already last time out, lost at home here 8-3. So let's see what you have here in this one. If you want to take a stab at this one, I'm going to. That's my job here on Night Moves. St. Louis down 6.25 units at home this season with a 5-7 record. Meanwhile, Chicago at least is 6-6 on the road. They're up a unit and a third. Here, 6-3 overall for Chicago here. Also, take a look at the trends here a little bit with these 2 teams coming in. Like I said, the 8-3 last time out. So I probably just want to take Chicago, actually. Let me see what's going on here. Chicago's gone over in 6 of their last 8. St. Louis has gone over in 4 of their last 5. And 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone over. So, yeah, I think you can see what I could go. I'm probably you can feel it side and total, but I'll take Chicago here to win. But I'm going to be on that total too, and you know which way I'm going. But let's see what you got in the chat here in this one. And Andre says, give me the Blackhawks. Jay does like the under, though, and that's great, Jay. Thank you for being a member of the chat. All stars. Don't worry about it, Jay. You join me here every night. You bring me your plays. I want to know what you're on here. I'm just giving the stats and the numbers, and maybe that's influencing me a little bit. I'm mostly a market handicapper, Jay, for the most part. I just like to recite the trends to make a little content here. Yes, I'm a trend guy, and a lot of times it will be the tiebreaker or the deciding factor sometimes. I think trends are extremely important in my handicapping. I can't just go off the power ratings like so many people do. I just don't have that type. I have to see it with my own eyes a little bit. Greg says, what was the final in the Tampa game? Are you talking about, in the football game? Oh, Greg, you don't want to know. Greg says, got 3-2 here. And Jermaine is here in the chat. All right. I'll take the Blackhawks in this one. Yeah, Greg, it was Greg, last night in the game between Atlanta and Tampa Bay, you wouldn't believe it. It was 29-28. Atlanta got the win. They were 28-14 with 10 minutes left in the game, and the Buccaneers choked it big time. Baker threw a big interception. That was a big interception. He knew it. It was on him, wasn't it? All right, the Kraken are taking on the Mammoth. Whoever thought this would be an NHL game when I would have never imagined that a Kraken could take on a Mammoth, but here we are. Seattle comes in 12, 10, and 6. Utah comes in 14, 15, and 3. Both these teams are definitely having some struggles here right now. Utah's lost 3 straight to Calgary, LA, and Florida. They did play pretty well in that Florida game at home, but Florida still got the win. Florida got rocked, though, last night by Colorado. For Seattle, meanwhile, they are coming off of a home win over LA. Before that, they were on a losing streak. So they were able to snap that string, beat the Kings last time out. Seattle here 9-14 as an underdog. They're good. They're decent on the road here with a record of 5, 5, and 3 right now on the road. Meanwhile, for Utah at home, they are 7, 5, and 1 at home. So pretty decent there for sure. Still $1.80 is nothing you want to. Utah's 5-14 as a puck line favorite. Seattle's 17-6 as a puck line underdog. We talked about earlier this season, how many games have gone like to overtime so far this season. There have been 243. Let me see if I have the current numbers here. 243 NHL games so far this season. 68 of them have gone to overtime so far. So, look, I was talking on a lot of these shows. If you were taking the regulation draw, you might be still well into the profit here at this point with the numbers here, because, like I said, so far this season, that's 28% of the games have gone to overtime this season. It was 30%, but it's gone down here a little bit. There was a couple of days of some heavy schedules where no games went, but 28% of the games right now are going to overtime this season. So maybe you could look at Seattle here. The puck line still is a massive price, actually, despite the fact that you have $1.80 favorite here with Utah. In fact, they are minus $1.70. So I'm going to go over in this one at 5.5, over at minus 125. Give me the over. 6 under, that's fine. If it's 6 under, that's fine too. I'll take the over in this one with Seattle and Utah here. Utah's gone over in 6 of their last 9 games coming in. Seattle's 7-6 to the over on the road. They've actually gone under in 7 of their last 9 right now, but I'm going to go over in this one. All right, and let's see what else here. Jay Good says, whatever's been going on here, it hasn't always resulted in go against the grain a little bit in the NHL. I think, is that what Jay's saying there? And Andres, smoke some Kraken, and let's see what else. Greg here, 4-3 for the Mammoth. There's an over for me, huh? And Cal Dog liking the over as well. The Cal Dog can't trust either of the 8. Cal Dog, we got to trust somebody. We only got 4 teams playing. Hey, thanks, sports fan. Hit the like button, like it, share it, smash it here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. Like this video, and make sure you join us here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. All right, here, let me see here. That might be it for the show. I think I promised you one more segment, didn't I, here with the action tonight with Stephen F. Austin taking on Montana State here on Friday night. Montana State coming in here a 14-point favorite over Stephen F. Austin. Montana State has been cooking here right now. They're looking pretty strong. 14 points. It's a lot of points for sure against a Stephen F. Austin team. Both teams coming in here 11-2 right now, but Montana pretty sharp for sure. I'm going to still think that maybe Stephen F. Austin can hang here in this game. I do think Montana State is going to win. They're pretty good. They're going to flirt with this number for sure. I think they will win by double digits, but I'm going to go ahead and take Stephen F. Austin plus 14. My algorithm says it's going to be Montana State. I almost should trust it. Probably it's done me well this season, but in this big game, I'm going to go ahead and try Stephen F. Austin against Montana State here in the FCS playoffs here on Friday night. Both teams come in pretty sharp here right now. Stephen F. Austin's 8-4 against the spread so far this season. Montana State 5-3 against the spread at home so far this season. SFA is 3-3 ATS on the road. SFA went under in 8 of their 12 games so far this season. They're 2-4 to the under on the road and 0-2 to the under as a dog. Meanwhile, even though Montana State here they're 4-7 to the under as a favorite. So, well, maybe you will see where I'm going here at the total, but I'm going to go ahead and take SFA here in this one on the show. All right, and Jay Good likes Montana State here to cover, and he means Montana State, like I said. And don't forget, and Andrew says Montana. I hope you guys just remember this is Montana State, the Bobcats, not to be confused with the Montana Grizzlies. I mean, look, right now, I mean, look, Montana State, hey, they're always good here, but for maybe for this season, I mean, they're that good that, they're coming on so strong here right now, these guys. Montana and Montana State. I just wonder here this season if we could see one of those two teams win it all here, because right now they are on the same side of the bracket. So if Montana were to win, they'll advance, and if Montana State wins, they'll meet in the semifinals. The opposite bracket has upstart Illinois State off of their incredible win over North Dakota State. That's the key, that North Dakota State, the number 1 seed, was knocked out of the FCS playoffs. And also UC Davis hosts Illinois State, and then Tarleton State will host Villanova also on Saturday. So the number 1 seed is gone. Montana State is number 2 seed. Montana is the number 3 seed. All right. And let's see here. What else? Andre likes Leipzig tomorrow. Thank you, Andre. And yeah, Jay says go ahead. He likes Montana State to roll. And Andre, I think he says, yeah, whoops. He says he'll take Montana. I'll cover those games possibly tomorrow. Montana's an 8-point favorite over South Dakota on Saturday. Tarleton's an 11-point favorite over Villanova. And UC Davis, a 3-point favorite over Illinois State. Man, I got to like Davis. Illinois State looked great, but I'll probably take Davis in that one. All right, make sure you head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and make sure you check out our great handicappers over at Tony's Picks. Get you ready for the action here. Hey, you know what? I'm going to bring you some great winners here, but if you need just a little bit more advice, assistance, maybe you're having a few L's along the way, check us out over at Tony's Picks and look at our team of handicappers here. I got my picks up for Friday. Check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. I'm up here over 9.5 units over the last 30 days. So why aren't you involved with me here? I had the big night there on Friday, going 3-0 with those NFL props, and I won my NCAA basketball game here to keep the winning going over at Tony'sPicks.com. You can use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15% off those premium pick packages over at Tony's Picks, and that goes for all of our handicappers over at Tony's Picks. So, hey, make sure you're joining me here on late Friday night, early Saturday morning here. Try to get on the air before 3 a.m. Eastern, noon for me, midnight Pacific is what they call it here in Las Vegas. So join me tomorrow for the show. We'll be going over the action here for Saturday. All right, thanks to everyone in the chat. What a great job, you guys. Let's kind of squeeze in a few more here. Greg Austin with a blowout. UC Davis for Jay Good on Saturday. Jay, make sure you. Great to see you in there. Make sure you join us if you can. Andre, Missouri State plus the points in basketball tomorrow. I want to say hello to Oscar in the chat. Nice to have Oscar here. Hi, Oscar. Great to see you here as well. And Oscar says, do you place bets early or late? Oh, great question there, Oscar. I think you always, if you go with your strong opinions early, you want to try to determine if the line is going to move for or against you. I will say this, and it's not 100% of the time, but it's more than 50. Wherever that first line move goes, that's the direction it's usually going to go. It doesn't happen like that all the time, but they also say, this is kind of a generalization, it still holds true for the most part. You take your favorites early and your underdogs late, especially at I want to call them square books, but maybe retail books, right? Because you're going to get probably more points with your underdog late as public money comes in on favorites. It's not a hard, steadfast rule, and I don't want to talk down to anybody here, but it's a great place to start, at least thinking about betting philosophy. Take your favorites early and your underdogs late. You'll get a fine tune for it. That's not a steadfast rule at all, but it's kind of a starting point to think about. So thank you, Oscar. Really nice to have you there. Take advantage of those lines and point. And look, I don't know if you caught it, Oscar. You can go back and scroll back here for about right at the middle of the show. I was talking about a basketball game where I liked Connecticut, and the line was 13.5. I typed the lines in. I didn't double check them before he came on the show. And I said, I like Connecticut. And then the chat told me, Ramon, it's 16.5. You got the line wrong on your graphic. Just goes to show you, right? I mean, that game got steamed for sure. Andrew, he likes McNeese there against East Texas A&M. They're laying 17.5. Thank you to Andre. Thank you to Oscar as well. Hope you'll join me, Oscar, right about this night. And Cal Dogs and Ramon, I told you the refs are going to. You did, Cal Dog. I went with the under, and probably should have went over. That was almost an historic penalty performance there by the Falcons, man. Going over. I mean, going 19 penalties in that game. Wow. Oscar says 4 a.m. here in Toronto, Ramon. Let's wrap it up. And it's 1:15 here in Las Vegas. That's going to do it for Night Moves for the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves.